The defence company BAE Systems has been fined £250,000 following the death of one of its workers. Gary Whiting was crushed in a metal press at the company's Brough plant in November 2008. At Hull Crown Court today, BAE Systems accepted in this instance that there was a failure in its safety processes. Gemma Dawson was in court. What has been the reaction to this fine, Gemma?
Well, the family of Gary Whiting told me they were satisfied following the conclusion of this case. At Hull Crown Court today, BAE Systems was also ordered to pay costs of nearly £100,000. That's on top of the £250,000 fine. Now, this case relates to the death of one of their employees, Gary Whiting, who was crushed while doing maintenance work on a metal press at BAE's Brough plant. We heard today that Mr. Whiting had entered the machine just before the press was started. Speaking outside court, Mr. Whiting's nephew gave the family's reaction.
We agree with the Health and Safety Executive's view that there were multiple failures to comply with legislation and the standard fell well below what was reasonably practical. The tragedy is that a few £100 spent on a particular safety feature would have saved Gary's life.
The Health and Safety Executive has today described Mr. Whiting's death as an entirely preventable tragedy. Their investigation found there was no risk assessment for the maintenance process that Gary and his colleagues were doing that day. And there was no fail-safe process to prevent workers entering dangerous parts of the press machine during testing. Now, one of their inspectors told me that he now hopes today's fine will act as a warning to other companies.
They need to take proper measures and they need to identify the risks and put in control measures, because if they don't, and unfortunate incidents such as this occur, they will be dealt with most seriously by the courts, and I am very pleased with today's result.
Well, BAE Systems says it deeply regrets Mr. Whiting's death. In a statement, the company acknowledges that in this instance there was a failure in its safety processes and accordingly entered a guilty plea. It goes on to say that since the accident, a number of improvements have been made at the site to ensure that such an accident never happens again.
Gemma, thank you so much.